Family vacations. Family vacation. What are our thoughts on family vacations? Boo. I got a boo from Thomas. What about this side of the crowd? Family vacations, yay or nay? Yeah. I mean, family vacations for me were a perfect representation of exactly what my family was. It would start out with all this hope and glamour, and you're like, damn right, we're going to Gettysburg. Gonna be the best fucking vacation we've ever been on. And then you get there and you realize that there is one bedroom for you and your parents and siblings if you have those. One bedroom, one bathroom, and you don't get any private time. That being said, my parents were nice enough to know that I enjoyed going on vacations because I liked learning about history. I liked learning about America. In fact, Benjamin tells me all the time, it feels like you've been everywhere in this country. And I pretty much have, thanks to my parents. My favorite vacation, though, was to Gettysburg. And I figured, since Ghosts of the Past was the subject matter, the prompt, I thought a lot about talking about stories from my past of people that have come and gone, even the Appalachian Trail and some of the experiences I had there, but I settled on a story from Gettysburg. I was 14 when we traveled there. I knew the history by then. I'd had the lessons in school, and I was absolutely enthralled by all of the events surrounding the Battle of Gettysburg. I wanted to visit the battlefields. I wanted to go to all of the haunted places, but I also didn't necessarily believe in ghosts, so I wanted Gettysburg to convince me that haunting was a real thing. If you go to Gettysburg, it is a tourist trap for ghost hunters. So every place you go is haunted. So we went to a place called Farnsworth Inn. This is a real place. The Travel Channel, we all know that they are absolutely the authority on hauntings. They told us that it is one of the most haunted buildings in all of America. All right? So I was pretty excited when I found out that's where we were staying. And I had researched it. What happened at the Farnsworth Inn was that was where Confederate sharpshooters had stationed themselves, and there are still over 100 bullet holes in the walls. So while we were staying there, we went on all the tours, including some ghost tours. Nothing really happened. I mean, they have that weird metal thing that like, oh look, oh my goodness, there's a ghost because it's totally resonating. And you're like, okay, it's resonating, all right, it's scary. But I wasn't really that convinced. But one night, my parents and I decided to go on our own little ghost hunt. We went out on a walk in the battlefields, and it was right around dusk. And we were walking on the pathway next to the battlefields, and in between the pathway and the street were all of the graves from the old soldiers. It was a pretty cool experience. You could see the mist rising in the fields, and as we walked, we had our coats off because it was nice and warm. Well, being a 14-year-old boy, I saw something I was interested in, whether it be another boy or another girl on the other side of the street, remains to be seen, but it was something, so I told my parents that I wanted to go get ice cream on the other side of the street, so that meant we had to cross through the battlefield. The second we stepped on the grass, a chill literally ran up my spine. I could feel it. And there, Thomas, that's your use of literally we were talking about the other day. It ran up my spine. And so I put on my coat. And my dad, at the same time, was putting on his coat. And so was my mom. My mom said, boy, it just got really chilly all of a sudden. My dad said, yeah, it dropped like 30 degrees in a second. Well, we walked through. It was cold the entire time. And the second we finally reach the sidewalk on the other side, it warms up. Now, obviously, there's got to be a scientific explanation to that. I did not do that research for you. I'm sorry, you're going to have to do that for yourselves. The next day, it was one of our final days in Gettysburg. we decided to do a tour of the hotel because, you know, the hotel's not getting enough money from people just staying there. They gotta offer tours. I mean, the place is tiny, but they got plenty to say. I mean, they are master storytellers. They have a story for every single room, every single dish, and the very final story happens in the attic of the building where one of the Confederate sharpshooters was shot directly in the head and blood splattered all around. So that must be the most haunted room in the entire building. So while we're up there, all seated in this cramped little space, there's about 10 of us in a room that should probably only hold about 5, and I happen to get the seat right next to the door leading to the stairwell downstairs. I'm sitting there and the storyteller is presenting and explaining everything that has happened in this space. He's telling the gruesome details of the Confederate soldier's death when all of a sudden the door slams on my leg, slams shut, and a gust of wind flows into the room. The storyteller doesn't seem bothered. He looks at it, says, "Oh, hey, Jeremy," and then he keeps going. The rest of us stopped, froze. I remember a man in his 50s, he had some graying hair, raised his hand, and the storyteller goes, you don't have to raise your hand. If you have a question, you could just ask. This isn't a classroom. And the man's like, the door just opened. What was that? And the storyteller goes, oh, that's just Jeremy. He's our resident 8-year-old boy. He likes stealing things from rooms. He especially likes panties and bras.
Ooh,
he was a horny 8-year-old. But he's a very friendly ghost. He loves to be where the people are. So right now we've got 11 people in this room, so no surprise, he's here. Well, again, I don't necessarily believe it. Like, I need to know what the hell happened. Like, it can't really be a ghost boy, right? Right? So after everyone has left and gone down the stairs, my dad and I decide we are going to be investigators, and we investigate every inch of that room, every inch of that door. And my dad was like, what did it feel like when the door hit you? Was it like soft or hard? I'm like, I don't know, it was a door. It slammed against my knee, it kind of hurt, made a sound, something like that. We couldn't find anything. We couldn't find a mechanism, and I know for a fact there was no one on the other side. So we went down the stairs, enjoyed the rest of our vacation, and on the last day, we decided to find out a little bit more about what happened. And we said, okay, we went up to the hotel clerk, and my dad said, all right, you got us. That whole door bit was really funny, you know, when it slammed into my son's leg, that's really good. Do you have like a mechanized system? Do one of your employees go up and slam the door? And the clerk looks at my dad and says, oh, you must have met Jeremy, the 8-year-old boy who was trampled to death by horses outside of Farnsworth Inn. Yeah, we met Jeremy, all right. And I'll never forget him and Gettysburg.
Yeah.